All right, guys. How are ya? Guys doing pretty good? I hope so. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to do a rant / discussion video about this past year, kind of, and how we're all ready for things to go back to normal. I am, of course, referring to COVID-19. And sorry about that, guys, my TV just dimmed out. But anyway, if you're one of those people who really, really take COVID seriously and, you take face masks seriously, and you're just that person who just takes all this stuff very, to the extreme, and you think face masks should be mandatory, whatever you do, I do not recommend you watch this, because I just don't think like that. Just a fair warning, I recommend you click off this video, because if you don't, then you're probably going to get really, really upset about this video. And I don't want that. So, yeah. Now, obviously, I'm not saying I don't care at all. That's not it. Believe me. Why would we not care? But I do think people take it to the extreme, if you know what I mean. Sorry about that. And I'm going to kind of give some examples in this video. So yeah, this will just be basically a rant on COVID, I did this when I was still living with my uncle, but I'm going to kind of remake it in more detail, because that was when it was first starting out. And I was requested to do it, so it was still developing, and it was at its beginning stages. So I'm going to remake it now that a lot of bullshit has happened. So yeah. I guess I'll start with this, when I was kind of talking about. People do take this virus to the extreme. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying people shouldn't care, but at the same time, people do take it to the extreme. I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna kind of get into those reasons, and when I talk about lockdown and face masks. So let's talk about those first. First, lockdown. Now, I'm actually kind of in the middle when it comes to lockdown rules. I don't think people should be stuck at home all the time, and I think people should be able to get shit done. Of course, grocery shopping. I don't know. Getting a job if they want one or need one, which is kind of a pain in the ass during a pandemic, but if they want one or need one for something, they should be able to do it. go to the DMV for something. Like, I'm in that situation right now. Like, I was supposed to get an ID, not a driver's license, because my dad said that you can, like, the DMV, you don't just go there for driver's license. You can just go there for regular IDs too that don't have the driver's license part. I was supposed to get one shortly after we moved here, but I couldn't thanks to the stupid pandemic. You know, that's the stuff I'm talking about. We should be able to do important stuff like that, you know. We should be able to get an ID or, I don't know, get a driver's license. I don't know. You know, stuff like that. And we should be able to go out once in a while because, you know, even during the pandemic, like, it's not good for you just to, like, stay cooped up inside all day 24/7. Like, I'm a homebody, so for the most part, you know, I'm pretty much content with it because you know me, I'm a very simple person. I spend most of my time just playing on my phone, you know, or watching TV or playing video games. You know, I spend a lot of time doing that kind of stuff. But even I have my limits, you know. I like to go out with my dad to get food or to get groceries, you know. It's good to go out. Sometimes I do go in the store, but sometimes I just stay in the car. So yeah, it's important to still go out. But people should be careful. Like, I don't condone the people who are just carelessly going out. Like, people will still go out to bars with, like, a bunch of people, and that's one of the reasons why COVID was getting so bad, you know, because people were, like, really careless about it. I get it, like, you know, like I said, I'm kind of in the middle when it comes to this whole situation. Like, I'm not one of those people who, like, overreact or take it to the extreme. But at the same time, I still think you should be cautious about where you go and what you do, how you do it, etc. But we have these people that just don't care. They just go out when they don't need to and be with a bunch of other people. You know, that's something I don't tolerate during a pandemic. I get it. People want to live their lives. I get it. Believe me. We're all ready for things to get back to normal. We're all ready to go out and have fun again. But if you do that during a pandemic, you're just gonna make it worse, you know. You're gonna it's probably gonna make the government make stricter rules and mandates. It's gonna probably prolong the pandemic, which I don't know about that. We do have vaccines, but still, it will just make things worse. Excuse me. If you're just carelessly going out with a bunch of people. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm ready for things to go back to normal. Because another reason, because I was supposed to start my programs, maybe not this year, but I was supposed to kind of get into the process of getting into my programs, which I've talked to you guys briefly about it before, I'll get to be with other people. It will teach me stuff, it'll teach me how to be more social and more independent. Kind of like a life skills group, I think it's what it's going to be. But I can't do it but we can't get my shit done during a pandemic because people are lazy and they're using this pandemic to... No, don't worry, I'm not talking about my dad. I'm talking about the people who run these businesses, the ID stuff and just, all the people that run these businesses that I have to go to in order to complete the prerequisites in order to get to these programs. Because believe me, even my dad said himself, people are using this pandemic as an excuse to not do anything. And I agree with him. He has a good point. So yeah, and of course, oh my God, the face masks. Now, I did a video back in July, I believe. Yes, it was July. It was like it was the night before Independence Day where I made this video. I made the rant. It was the rant on face masks and how they should be optional. Unfortunately, I'm the minority. Most people think they should. Most people think they should be mandatory. I mean, I kind of get it because they are mandatory, which they shouldn't be, but at the same time, that's really the only reason I can see why most people would think they should be forced. Number one, because they are mandatory, and number two, they're brainwashed by the government to believe that they do work when they don't. I'll admit, it's not as hard for me to breathe in a face mask as it was when it was first starting out, but it's still a pain in the ass. When I'm in the store and I'm doing my walking around, it keeps moving and it's just a pain it's a pain. It's very distracting, it's uncomfortable. We look ridiculous. Face masks are designed for two things. Number one, if you're like a doctor, because a lot of the times, if you're in a medical field, you have to wear one, not just during a pandemic, but it's just, yeah, excuse me. I think it's so you don't breathe in, when you're doing surgery or you don't breathe in it's hard to explain. You don't breathe in the bacteria, or I don't know. I'm having a hard time explaining that, but yeah, face masks are there for surgeons, number one, and number two, or number two, people like to use them to keep their face warm. Yeah, that's another good day for them. And number three, some people wear them because it's like a style thing. I heard that people in Korea, they wear face masks, not because for like a pandemic, not for pandemic reasons, but because it's how a lot of their style is. And also number four, some people kind of like to stay hidden, People can like smile or frown, and they can like hide their feelings. Some people might want to do that. So yes, it is good for those reasons, but I don't believe that they keep you safe. I'm sorry. Think about it. If face masks kept you safe, then it wouldn't be as bad anymore. We even like, I remember back in like November and December, there were just so many counts of like cases and deaths. And if face masks did work, there would be a lot less cases. And, I don't even think it'd be considered a pandemic. I don't know, but at least we would have a lot fewer cases. People say face masks are more to protect other people than to protect yourself. But the thing is, number one, you should stay home if you have the coronavirus. And number two, I don't think the whole, they're more to prevent other people from getting them than yourself. I don't think that's a very weak argument, especially not an argument that's not strong enough to explain the face mask mandates. Now, if you feel like you're safer wearing a face mask, if you just feel like you're safer wearing a face mask and it just feels more right for you, then that's your opinion. If you feel like wearing a face mask is the right thing, then you are entitled to that opinion. It goes both ways. I can't stand these rabid pro-maskers or mask mandate daters, that pro-mask mandators. I don't even know what to call them. I guess I'll just call them that, pro-mask mandators. I can't stand how they like to give people a hard time and they like to bitch at people for complaining about the mandates. I mean, complaining about the mandates won't make them go away. I mean, I'll admit that, but it is their right to complain about them. When you're in public, you want to be comfortable. You don't want to wear something on your mouth. You don't want to wear a piece of cloth on your mouth and look tacky and feel suffocated, and you have to keep adjusting it, and you don't want to have to deal with that shit, you know? And sometimes when I'm like wearing a face mask and you have to burp, oh my god, I hate that so much. That is like so uncomfortable. Like when you have to burp while wearing a face mask, oh my god, I hate that so much. I'm not trying to, I don't want to sound gross, and I don't want to like give out like too much information, but I'm just trying to give legitimate reasons and examples of how they're uncomfortable. Now, my dad got me a cute one, so at least I can. So it's it's not as bad now, but still. Other than the reasons I talked about, I don't understand why pro-mask mandators make such a big deal out of people thinking they should be optional. Like, do you not know what optional means? Optional just means that you can do it if you want. You can do it or you don't have to if you don't want to. That's what optional means. It just means you are given the choice to do something depending on whether you want to or not. Just be math. Do you not know the difference between mandatory, optional, and prohibited? I'm going to break it down for you. Prohibited I'm going to start with mandatory. Mandatory means that you have to do something. Optional means that you're given the choice. Prohibited means that you cannot do something, like it's not allowed. We're saying we want face masks to be optional. Like, if face masks were optional, that does not take your rights away. If you want to wear a face mask, then fine, If it feels right to you, then more power to you. But don't complain about people who think they should be optional. I mean, I get it. You want this virus to go away. You want people to do what they can to slow and stop the spread. I understand that. But there are more effective ways to doing so. For example, washing your hands regularly, taking vitamins, especially ones that help your immune system, ones that have good immune health, Being careful where you go and who you're with, and the disinfecting stuff, Those are much better ways into stopping the virus than wearing a face mask. Besides, like, you have to understand something. There's a couple of things that a lot of these rabid pro-maskers don't understand, number one, the germs can go through the mask. I mean, sometimes the virus can just stick to the mask, the virus and the germs, but, sometimes it can go through. So you can still contract the virus or spread it to someone else. And another thing is it doesn't just spread from mouth to mouth. Like, my dad said that another way you can get the virus is just by touching a contaminated object, like a table or a doorknob, and then you do this. You rub it in your eye, or you eat something with the virus on you. That's also another way you can get the virus. Face masks don't do much. I don't know, they may somewhat help, but I don't think they help enough for it to be mandatory. And oh my god, I've heard some really stupid things people do to advocate pro-mask mandates. For example, I heard that there's people, I don't know if you guys play this game, Ash. I know you do. If you're watching this game called Animal Crossing New Horizons. Animal Crossing New Horizons, where you can visit other people's islands, or they can come to your islands. And I heard that some people will literally make your freaking character wear a mask to enter. That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my entire freaking life. It's a freaking video game. You're not gonna make the virus worse just because your character that you play as doesn't wear a mask. I heard people do this because they want to promote how important masks are. I don't even know what to say now. If you're that's just going too far. What if the character doesn't have a mask? Oh, if you're gonna do that, the very, 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 very least you can do is provide masks. Because what if you don't have a mask in the game? What if you haven't been able to buy one, or you're having a hard time buying one? You have to think about that stuff. I'm not talking about in real life right now. I'm talking about in Animal Crossing. Besides, a lot of people play that game so they can escape real life, They don't want to have to deal with face masks or the coronavirus, Unless the pandemic somehow spreads to the game, that is just downright unnecessary to force your characters to wear a mask to enter your island. Besides, I want my character to represent myself, and a mask does not do that. Now, don't get me wrong, I do wear a mask when it's required or when I'm told to, I'm not that anti-masker. I mean, not that I blame them, I don't blame people for not wearing a mask, but at the same time, and as much as masks should be optional, it's better to just wear them, to just suck it up and wear them, so you don't get like scolded by the store workers or other people, you know what I mean? So I'm not that anti-masker. Not that I blame them, but I do wear them when I'm told or when it's required, but yeah. All right. I don't know okay. There's nothing much else to say besides the vaccines, Oh, wait. One thing I want to say on the face masks. I heard people will cut off communication with people just for being an anti-masker. Come on now. That is a stupid reason to cut off communication with someone just because they don't like face masks, That is why pro-maskers or pro-mask mandators are worse than anti-mask mandators like me. Because they don't respect people's choices or their rights. And they'll give a person the cold shoulder just because they don't like face masks. Whereas anti-mask mandators like myself, we respect choice, If people want to wear a face mask, then fine. We just don't like the rabid ones who take it to the extreme and bitch at people for thinking they should be optional. Now, there are probably some anti-mask mandators out there too that take it to the extreme, like, oh, you shouldn't wear a mask. I mean, I've never seen it, but I'm sure there are some out there, and I'll admit, that's taking it to the extreme because, like I said, it goes both ways. If someone wants to wear a mask, that's fine, They should have their beliefs respected as long as they respect our beliefs. I mean, I've never seen, and I've never came across an anti-masker that takes it to the extreme like that. But I'm sure there are a few out there that exist. So yeah. Anyway, guys. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about all that rigmarole that's been going on. As for social distancing, it kind of depends. Like, it's hard to do when you're in a store because, like, you have people, like, wandering around everywhere, and sometimes it's hard to social distance when you're in the store because people are walking around everywhere to get what they need. So in the store, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. But like in places like a restaurant, I actually kind of like it, you know. I kind of like to be isolated from other people, like when I'm going out to eat, you know. It makes it more relaxing. So yeah. Nothing much to say on the social distancing besides, I don't know if it works either. I mean, I'd much rather deal with it than the face masks, but like I said, this virus spreads in more ways than you think, so that's why the face masks and the social distancing haven't been doing jack squat for us. So yeah. But guys, there is hope, you know. Things are starting to look up, you know. We have the vaccines out right now. My grandparents have gotten their 2 dosages. And I've read stories about other people's parents and grandparents get their dosages. Or did I say my parents? I meant to say grandparents, yeah. My grandparents got their dosages of the coronavirus. Well, I know my ones, you know, that live in my town with us, my dad's mom and his stepdad, but I don't know about my mom's mother and her stepdad, but the grandparents from my dad's side of the family have gotten their dosages. And I've heard stories of other people's parents and grandparents getting their dosages. Hopefully, my mom and my dad get their dosages soon. Hopefully, it'll be their time. But before we know it, and then me and my brother will get our dosages when it's our time. From what my dad said, they're gonna kind of do it and start with the oldest age group, you know, 65 and up, and then they're gonna go younger. From what my dad said, so. And my dad is 52, so hopefully he'll get his 2 vaccines soon, and then, you know, eventually me and my brother will get ours. You know, I don't like needles, but at the same time, I do recommend you guys get the virus. I'm not going to sit here and say you guys should be forced to get the vaccine. But I do strongly recommend it because, you know, a little goes a long way. You can make a huge difference just by getting the 2 vaccines. Believe me, I know that needles suck, and believe me, I've always been scared of needles, and they've always given me anxiety, but I strongly recommend it, guys. If you want to keep not only yourself, but other people safe, I strongly recommend you get this vaccine. You know, the more people who cooperate and get the 2 vaccines, then the sooner COVID will end. So again, I strongly recommend it. You know, when you're getting your vaccines, just think positive, you know, like when they put the needle in your mouth, or your arm, try to think positive. Try to, you know, think about things that make you happy to kind of distract you from the pinch. Because that's all it is, you know. It's gonna hurt for like a couple of seconds. you know. I would rather have that, you know, a little. I would rather feel a little pinch in my arm, and then, you know, a couple of weeks later, another little pinch in my arm, than continuing to live like this. You know, you have to think about that. Like, okay, do I want something that will only last a few seconds, or do I want to go with the more long-term thing, you know? It's much better to just get the vaccine. Trust me, guys. I know that if you're young and you have a strong immune system, you know, the virus will not affect you as badly, but still, you could not only be saving yourself, but other people too, and even make this pandemic go away sooner. So I'm counting on you guys to make the right choice. Alright, I'm going to end this video now. Bye, guys.